Does God complicate the idea of morality, or can you really have a solid framework of morality without God that works in society? Let's talk about it. I was on X and I came across this video with a guy named Hunter Avallone. I really don't know who he is. It's not me trying to do a subtle insult. I truly don't know who he is. Way less people know who I am anyway, so why would I insult him like that? But apparently he's an atheist from what I can see just online. I want to play you a few videos of him saying or criticizing theism and the idea of God and morality with God. Check this out.
Is that I think any argument of morality will at some point down the line arrive at an argument of religion.
You don't need God for morality, first and foremost.
You don't need God for morality.
Because that actually makes things more difficult. Now I have to convince the guy who thinks it's fun to kill people that actually it's bad to kill people because God says so. And then I have to convince him about God, and then I have to convince him that my God is right.
Okay, so that's the first criticism. God makes morality more complicated because if there's someone that likes to kill people, I can't just tell him killing people is wrong. I have to convince him about my God. And I have to, I got to go through the argument from design. I got to go biogenesis and stuff like that. That's kind of what he's saying. So it's really complicated. God overcomplicates the morality conversation because you first have to make someone respect God, believe that he exists, let alone respect his rules in order to get them to comply. And that sounds like it makes a lot of sense, but what's the alternative?
Instead, what I can do is say, evolutionarily, we have evolved to be social creatures. If we have humans that are just murdering for fun, senselessly, society will collapse unless that behavior is done away with. This comes from a collective interest in benefiting all of society.
I love when people give this as the alternative. I love when people give this as the alternative. This is what is so important to do. Whenever someone criticizes the morality, like in the Bible or something like that, and they say it's evil, ask them, what's the alternative? I mean, really, what is the alternative? And explain to me why that's better. And he's actually going to get pressed on this. So he basically says, so here's why God complicates morality. Because in order for someone to do what you want them to do, you can't just tell them that what they're doing is wrong. You have to convince them about your idea and that your idea of God is right. So instead, here's what I do. I tell someone that it's wrong, and then I convince them about my idea. And I tell them that my idea, it's the same thing. All right. Now, if it's the same thing, are these two things equal? So I have to convince someone about God and objective morality, and then you have to convince someone about your evolutionary reasons. Are these two things equal? No, not at all. The evolutionary concept is way weaker, and it's way weaker for a reason that you're about to see because he's going to get pressed on this.
We don't need religion.
So you're just saying you shouldn't do it because it's unpractical.
Right.
No, I'm doing it because I care about me. I don't want to live in a world where I get murdered. I don't want to live in a world where my daughter is at risk of getting murdered.
You want the serial killer to realize that you don't want to get murdered, so he shouldn't murder people.
No, that's why we collectively as humans will say that serial killer is wrong. The serial killer might not think it's wrong, and if he has no sense of knowing it's wrong, then he's a psychopath. And if we allow deliberate harming of other humans, then society will crumble.
I love it when people say we collectively. Andrew Wilson just debated a secular humanist, and I might react to this video, but the guy was saying that same thing, using the word collective all the time. And this is actually a problem that I exposed in the recent video where Alex O'Connor debated Daily Dose of Wisdom on morality and emotivism, where he's saying if we all kind of agree on this, then that's good. We're agreeing on morality. That's what we want. And so if we just collectively can agree on this, the outliers, we can deal with them. Now, what if collectively we agree on racism? What if collectively we say that racism is a good thing and we want to bring back the KKK, for example? What if collectively we say that, ending people's lives who are innocent and don't deserve it, that's a good thing? What if we go back to the morality of the Aztecs and the Mayans when it comes to sacrificing the young and things like that, or just sacrificing people in general? What if collectively we all decided that stuff was great? Are those things now good? Is it just what the majority holds to be correct, the collective belief of all the people? That's what makes things good? What do you do in that situation? And Alex O'Connor, and respectfully so, said, yeah, that's kind of a problem for my belief system in emotivism. We don't really have a good way to address that.
Probably all agree slavery is bad, right? Well, how come God in the Bible is okay with it? Leviticus 25:44, God told his people they can get slaves. The point being, though, if you're saying slavery is bad, yeah, but maybe what if God says it's okay? Then, well, now we don't even know. Now maybe slavery is okay in some context.
Why would you say
your morality, hold on, wait. Because it's harming other people and you're taking away people's free will. You're taking away people's rights and
But
their
why is
autonomy.
that bad?
Because you can't own
Because you can't own another human being and have a
But why
I was
long
gonna say,
arm.
but if you don't believe in religion or right and wrong,
Yeah.
it's like, why is it bad?
Because it
Exactly.
leads to a literal collapse on society, and then even if you have nothing but
But
selfishness,
societies
hold on,
are-
wait.
they're not
Even if you have
collapsed.
nothing but selfishness, I can say, I care about me, I don't want to be a slave, so I don't want to live in a world where that's a risk for me to become a slave. I can reason this purely from selfishness, and the point about
But that's
slavery
subjective, is it not?
the point that I'm getting at about slavery is that you're saying our morality must come from God, but yet God has done nothing when it comes to give us consistent morality, because now we don't even know if slavery is good or bad, because God said it was okay. Probably all.
This is a hilarious moment here. It's hilarious. And I love how they basically all missed the point of what that dude was saying when he was asking him those questions. So he's saying, you know, slavery is bad. And he goes, why would you say slavery is bad? Why, on what grounds would you say that slavery is bad? And they all instantly act like this guy is defending slavery. What I think that he's actually doing is something a lot better. And again, this is kind of like the Frank Turek route. Frank Turek says, why would you say, if you're going to criticize the morality of God and, you know, the Bible, slavery, I'm not even going to go into all that. It's not the purpose of this video, but I've done videos on that and I'll link them in the description below. If I just ask you on your moral framework, why is slavery bad? Reason number one, because it's harming other people. Okay, why is harming other people bad? Right? It's harming other people. And he says, you're taking away other people's free will. Okay, why is that bad? And so the answer, people go, well, you can't harm other people. Why is harming other people bad? Truly, why is taking care, if God doesn't exist, if there's no God moral framework and it's just us, then why is taking away someone else's free will bad? You know, animals take away each other's free will all the time. Animals harm each other all the time. You're taking away their rights and their autonomy. Why is it wrong without God to take away someone's rights and autonomy? And someone says, because you can't own another human being. Why is it wrong if God doesn't exist to own another human being? And I love so much what an atheist will do when they hear this, like Frank Turek line of questioning, when they say, why? They'll say, you know, if you really need God to tell you that stuff is wrong, then I don't even know what to tell you. Again, no, tell me why it's wrong, though. If we're going to build a society on this, you have to be able to show somebody why they should respect that. Why should anyone else respect your subjective morality? Why should anyone else just accept the majority rule, the collective beliefs? Has the collective always been right morally in history? Has a collective always done good stuff, historically speaking, in human society? So why is it wrong? Explain to me why it's wrong. And if you can explain to me why it's wrong, then on what just grounds do you hold me to your tyranny?
Having
I was
long
gonna say, but if you don't believe in religion or right and wrong,
Yeah.
it's like, why is it bad?
Exactly. If there is no right and wrong on the objective level, a God-given right and wrong, then why is it
because
bad?
it leads to a literal collapse on society.
Why is a collapse of society wrong? Why is it wrong? Again, why is that something that I should care about? I love what he says earlier. Like, oh, then if that person doesn't really accept this, then they're a psychopath and they should be like locked up or whatever. Again, why should your tyranny, your baseless moral tyranny, be something that I respect at all? Obviously, in this, and again, atheists go so ridiculous in this conversation a lot of the time. Respectfully speaking, the conversation gets so ridiculous a lot of the time. I'm obviously not defending those things. I'm obviously completely against those things. But the difference is I actually have a real framework, a framework that makes sense, that you can hold people to, that you can reason through philosophically in terms of the belief in a God. The moral argument does make sense if there are things that we should and do recognize, like truly evil, like the Holocaust, for example. Then absolutely, then there are objectively good things. And if that's the case, there's objective good and evil, then there's a basis, there's a moral standard on the basis of which we can differentiate between those two things. Where did that come from? If it came from us, then it's not objective, it's just subjective. It's just like this guy's moral standard, Hunter's moral standard. No, it came from outside of us. Therefore, there is a moral lawgiver, a moral standard giver. That's God.
And then even if you have nothing but selfishness,
societies are-
hold on, wait.
Why should I respect your selfishness?
They're not
Even if you
class.
have nothing but selfishness, I can say, I care about me, I don't want to be a slave.
Why should I care about what you want? Again, if we're all just evolved animals, Why should I care about what you want? Which animal says like, hey, I'm about to eat you for food. I'm about to, destroy your young. But what do you want? Do I have your consent in this situation? I don't want to violate your autonomy, right? Animals don't have these conversations. If we're just living in this like landscape where there is no true grounding for morality, then explain to me on what basis should I care about any of your reasons? There is no basis for this. There is nothing that holds back the very worst nihilistic kind of mindsets in this stuff. And again, even stuff like Alex O'Connor's emotivism doesn't really account for how to handle this stuff. If the collective comes together and says it's something that you and I think is bad, like racism, for example, and says that that's going to be the way everyone goes now, that's going to be what we enforce, what we hold people to, non-racists go to jail. On what basis do you oppose that? Truly. And if it's your own selfishness, why should I care? But you see, if we have a moral standard, an objective standard that doesn't come from us, but we are all beholden to like God, which philosophically makes sense. If it doesn't, please tell me why. Then now I can say, and we can reason and say, this is why, regardless of how you feel about it, this should be respected. And if you will not respect this, then there's going to be consequences. And again, this is my plea to everybody in the comments. If this all is true, explain to me why I should care. If there's no God, and this is just the framework we're working off of, explain to me why I need to care. But if it comes from just you and me, on what basis can we hold anybody to any of it? Let me know what you think. I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for this probably, but I want to know why this is wrong. Explain to me my problem with the moral framework of objective morality here. Again, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the moral argument as well. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, consider supporting on Patreon. The link is in the description below. I really want to hear what you have to say. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video on the comments of this video. I've done that before, so I'll probably do that with this one if we get a good amount of comments. Let me know what you think. God bless you. I love you. Lord willing, I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.